Hey folks, this is Best in Slot. Welcome back to our Prehistoric Speedbuild series where we're going to recreate the Jurassic Park films in the form of a random park. Not just Jurassic Park 1, although we're very much still in that arena. This is kind of similar to the last video in which I had all these grand plans to make many things and then I started making this, what we're about to see, and it took 3 goddamn hours. So I kind of just have to do this. But once again, there's been a big focus on detail and accuracy, and this is basically one-to-one. This is, I think, really, really close. What we're building basically is the vehicle gate entrance kind of shebang that they drive through at the start of the film. You know, where the music's all happy and they're getting the vehicles and they drive through this gate thing, and then they lock it behind them. The guy in the pink shirt goes when he slams this thing across, and music just gets a little bit ominous for just a split second, and it kind of suggests, you know what, they're locked in here now and maybe things aren't going to go that well. And it's a really nice, fairly detailed little fence gate sort of thing, and I really wanted to get all the various little details correct, so that's what I did. Next video will have dinosaurs. Probably. I was going to build the security bunker. To mix things up, I'm going to build, I think, the one from Fallen Kingdom, which would have the baryonyx inside. Now we don't have a baryonyx, so we can put something else in there. But that was the plan, to do along with this, but like I say, it took bloody ages. So what I'm doing here is just building the sort of the metal outskirts kind of thing. You'll notice that it looks really weird. Apparently my reflections were turned on to like low settings, so I'm going to change that in a minute and that'll make it look a lot better. The vehicle has been edited a little bit. I've made the lights bigger, as someone suggested in the last video. That was a good shout. And I've also scaled the whole thing down a little bit, as Joshua suggested. I'm not going to try to pronounce the last name because I know I'll butcher it again, even though I did learn. What people do in Prehistoric Kingdom a lot is they make a little prefab that's the size of a human being, and then you can use that to scale things even when you don't have guests in your park. So I made one of the, I went into my other park, made like a little rectangle with a bobblehead the size of a human, saved that as a prefab, and now I've scaled down the car so it kind of fits more with that size, and then I could scale the fence around the car because I know that fits a human. So the whole thing should be near enough one-to-one in terms of sizing. Just cool beans. Right, so we've got there's like a fence, and that curls above a tunnel of wiring or like metal bars, and then there is more detail at the front. We'll get to that in a minute. But this is basically, there's going to be like some long, thin wires, sort of metal bar, metal rod, metal wire kind of things stretching across, and then it kind of like bends over the top in a way of the thing. So what I'm basically doing here is just making the hooks that the metal wiring is going to hang on. I really struggled. I've kind of figured out how you do it, but for some reason every time I kept adding an object. I really wish, the main thing I wish is that I had made this entire thing on the grid and then moved it at the end. My life would have been 1,000 times easier. One of the major problems I had was everything needed rotating 1,000 times and angling, and it was just such a pain in the ass. What I'm doing here is using concrete blocks to just make sure that these hooks are the same length apart. I knew I needed a specific amount of them, I think 6 of them from the, basically, so some of them are going to go all the way across the top, as you can see, like above the tunnel, we'll call it, and then there's a few beside the tunnel, of course, because they can't go through where the car's going to drive. There should be 6 of them exactly above the tunnel section, but I wanted to make sure it wasn't too tall, so I then had to rearrange them all as I went, and that's why this is taking a little bit longer than expected. But I got there in the end, and I think it ended up... I think the whole thing it doesn't look that impressive, but it took ages, and it looks good, it looks realistic. I do think it's actually better than the vehicle. There's still no workshop for this game, but it is on the way very soon. The next big update for Prehistoric Kingdom will include Steam Workshop, so I will start uploading all these things so that hopefully, you know, if you want to build your own parks, then you'd have some... I'll take this whole thing and I'll upload that on the workshop, and I'll upload the car on the workshop and whatever else we make as well. And knowing that I'm going to do that is kind of why I'm just putting that little bit more effort into making sure they're really, really realistic, because I think, you know, that'd be nice for people to have access to, right? I think that'd be a cool thing. So at the top of each of these metal bar things is it's like a, I don't know what it is really, but it's like a transformer sort of thing. It's this metal rod, metal thing that kind of convexes inwards. Actually, you're about to see convexes inwards or concave? Convex. It's like a convex shape that comes in the middle. As you can see, concave goes inwards like a cave, right, like a hole, and the vex comes out to a point, right? So it's convex. Anyways, there's like a pointy thing. So I'm just shrinking it down over and over again to make this sort of a rounded rod, and then a little bit of bronze on the end of that as well, a little bit of copper probably, more than anything else, making sure that sticks out a decent amount. And I thought there was like a wire hanging down from this, because some of the reference images I found have that. It's hard to just have your reference images from the film, because at the end of the day, they don't tend to give you all the detail you want. So I tend to use ones from games and from other people's recreations in games and from artwork and stuff like that. Didn't really help that much with this one, because people have added details that aren't there, so I kind of have to keep going back to the film. But at the back of each of these transformers, that's what I'll call it, there's a couple of lights as well. There's an orange light, and then below that there's a blue light, and the orange light sticks out just a little bit more than the blue light as well. So I'm just going to swap that to that, and there is the general idea, just trying to bring that all together. The lights in the car really annoy me. I really wish I could turn them off. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to invent a way. I'm going to make my own Prehistoric Kingdom, and you'll be able to turn the lights off, and it's going to be blessed. So just adding those lights all the way across. I think they are there across the entire thing. So we've got all our fence posts now. They've all got rungs on them. They've all got these hooks, as you can see, and they've all got the transformers and lights on the top. So good work so far. You'll see how like a lot of it has kind of come together already. The doors, the gates I suppose you'd call them, is really where most of the time went, because they're stickers. And I was going to resist and make them super basic, and then I started to do it and I thought, oh, let's just make the bloody things. I cannot wait to build things that don't have frickin' stickers on. I nearly swore there. Half my time in this build was spent on stickers. Literally half my time in this build on stickers. I'm not doing anything else that has a sticker on it. I'm so nervous about that vehicle, you know, about the Ford Explorer. Because I feel like I have to make one, but how I'd ever do the coloration on that, I have no idea. Anyways, yeah, so these are the wires. Took a little bit of time, but you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 just about that hangs above the whole thing. And then there's 4 that hangs down by the side of the tunnel gate kind of thing itself, which I think perfectly matches the number in the film, if I'm correct. And I am. So got our general entrance right there, and you can see the basic shape is very much there. It just needs the gate now, and it just needs the stickers. Other than that, it's basically done. A little thing I wanted to do, just a little bit more detail on the vehicle, which, as I say, I've updated slightly anyway. Bigger headlights. I reshaped the headlights slightly, and I raised the size of the brake lights at the back as well. I just added a spotlight in there, so it looks like there's light coming out of the front of the vehicle at the very least. Anyways, now time for the gate. So the gates are... There's 2 gates, identical ones, and they open up in the middle, and they've got this kind of like uneven, bendy shape that makes them up. So all I'm doing here is just making the sort of the outline of the gate and making sure it fits perfectly in this area here. So you can see I'm trying to... Basically what I'll often do is use a block like that. I do this in Photoshop all the time when I'm trying to like line things up. Use a block and make sure they align around that block perfectly. You know what I mean? And that way you know they're the same size. So that's the outline of our gate, and I know that if I duplicate that and put it against itself, it'll perfectly match and perfectly fill the gap, right? Which is more realistic, of course. So that's kind of the shape they've got. It's very reminiscent of the gate on the visitor center door, actually. It's that kind of lower down angle. It isn't even, it's not meant to be even. It is meant to be... It's meant to drop lower than the midpoint is what I'm trying to say. You'll notice that the gates on the left are fine, but I didn't duplicate it correctly. I didn't rotate it correctly or whatever. Basically, the other gates are wrong. The drop is at the wrong point at this point in time. As in, they tilt inwards. These ones tilt outwards, the other ones tilt inwards. So I'll fix that later on. It took ages to notice. The gates have their own little bar things. They probably shouldn't be this thin, but in order to make them fit in the gap of the bars, they kind of had to. The bars had to fit in the bars. The bars had to fit in the metal, and this was the only way to make that happen, really. But hey, I don't think you can really notice. I think it's kind of effective. Each gate also has a big locking mechanism. That's what I was talking about before. It's got a locking mechanism that, you know, it's got these lights on it, it's got these stickers on it, and then out of that locking mechanism comes like these 2 big bolts. And there's a bigger mechanism on the left-hand gate, and the bolts jut out. They cross over into the other metal mechanism thing, and the bolts lock in place, and that's how the gates lock, basically. So that's what I'm building here. This first one is fairly huge. It takes up the majority of the gate, basically. Something like that. So making that nice and chunky. And then on the right-hand side, there is a slightly smaller one, basically. So this is where the mechanism would move into. It juts out from that left-hand side, it pushes through, and then it goes, the bolts go in, and they push into the other one. And now it's sticker time. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 stickers today, I think it is. I don't know, something like that. This is just a warning label kind of thing, but I really wanted them to be accurate to the film. So it's a black bordered white sticker. It's got a little black line on the left hand side. It says warning in black text on there as well. And then there's like a I didn't want to actually write this out because that would have been absolute madness. I was going to do some Lorem Ipsum kind of stuff, but I just thought I'd lose my mind. So I just shrunk the word warning really low and duplicate that lots of time. There's some text on the right hand side of the sticker. You can't really read it. I suspect it is actually got words, but the idea of doing this whole thing, you can see why I didn't want to write out all this, given that you can't actually type. You have to, do it bit by bit. It would have driven me insane. And I think as long as you're not right up close to it, you can't see the difference anyway. Plus, it's kind of cool. You go look at the warning sticker to see what it says, and it just goes, warning, 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 warning. It's just really hammering the point home. Then on the right-hand side of the mechanism, so that's on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, there's this weird little half-egg-looking sticker. This is like a flat bottom, and then like a rounded bit at the top. There's a little circular logo in the middle of that, and there's a little bit of text on the bottom of that, but I don't think I did that. It's just going to sit there like that. These are such minor details. They really are. Thank God for the scale tools. Again, could not have done this in any other video game, unironically. Don't think there's a single other video game on the planet where I could have done this. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Is there any other games that let you build like this? With scaling and stuff? I can't think of any. I unironically can't think of any. Like, people who aren't even into dinosaurs should play this game, because you can build anything, essentially, and especially as more items get added. So the two sides of this mechanism have because I think the left one basically juts forward and that fires the bolts into the other housing on the right-hand side, on the other side of the gate. As you can see how there's like a gap in the middle, and obviously that's so it can move. They're connected via a cable wire sort of thing. So I use these tiny little objects here and just kind of made like a little black cabling wire thing, essentially. I will say, I've got a lot. I think the car was really good practice, because my ability to make little detailed things using various items has improved dramatically during this playthrough. This is not the kind of thing I ever thought I would really do, but I've really enjoyed it in a weird, sadistic kind of way. The mechanism on the right has two lights on it. One of them's red, one of them's green. I'm assuming the point is just to show whether it's locked or unlocked, essentially. But they are now both on there, just adding those on the other side. Don't think I realised yet that it is wrong. No, but what I'm doing here is just I'm adding a bar at the end of each gate, because you can see where the angled pieces have crossed over. It looked really ugly, so I just wanted to add a bar there to kind of cover that up, which I think is there in the film. It's not always super clear. So next sign, we have a danger sign, high voltage kind of thing. That's on a little red boundary on here on the right hand side of the gate. There is a logo on the right hand side of a lightning bolt, which we're going to build in a second. And I thought I had quite a clever idea for this. I used the V's, I made the V black, and then kind of jagged them together. Jagged is the official term. Jagged them together to make a sort of lightning bolt kind of effect, and then basically used lots of little circles to fill in the gap. It's really obnoxious work, to say the least. It's like, it looks like it doesn't take long here, but this is sped up 800%. So, it's not the most fun I've ever had, these little details, but then you finish it and you're like, yeah, okay, that was worth it. Slightly wider circle there at the top just to edge that into the circle itself, and it looks like a lightning bolt, right? And then on the left hand side we have the actual danger text. There's actually two danger signs. There's a small one, this one, which is in Spanish, and then there's a larger one in English, which we'll see in just a minute. I'm assuming this is the Spanish word for danger. It's something. D, I think there's a D in there. Da or something. Peliga, or maybe there's no D. Peligro. I assume that means danger. I've got to guess that means danger. God, I wish I could turn those lights off, because that's going to glow as well. Peligro. For some reason, I can't get the text to just always do what I want. It's making me very sad. I really just recommend building on the grid. Even if you're going to move it later on, just build everything on the grid and then rotate at the end. Your life will be 1,000 times easier. And I keep telling myself this in Planet Zoo as well, and I keep bloody forgetting to do it. So there's a danger text, and then below that it says alto volage. Velojoto, which I'm assuming is high voltage or something like that for the danger sign. So just bringing that together. It's got like a kind of squished kind of nature to it as well. So below peligro, there we go. There is our high voltage danger sign. This isn't a very long video, is it? 19 minutes, 4 minutes left. Hanging that up by some chains, and then there's some little sort of bolts in each corner of the sign as well. So I'm just adding those in there, as you can see. Just again, just want to get those tiny details, you know. I think it brings it together, makes it really just feel right. And then I tried to resize it slightly and realized that wasn't going to work. So, anyways, so there's I think just one more sign to do, which is the major sign that you see in the film, the big danger sign that hangs on the right-hand gate. I kind of want to close them, you know, because I kind of want to have the bolts coming across, but then you won't be able to get through. At the moment, you can't anyway. I'm considering putting a little path. It's a shame we don't have like transparent paths. That'd be great. But I'd like people to be walking through this section in a way, and they're not at the moment. So I'm kind of thinking about that, whether I want like an entrance here, or maybe I'll just save it later for the visitor center or something like that. I'm quite excited about the visitor center as well, but then I'm thinking, well, yeah, I'm excited about it, but I'm also going to build the interior. That sounds like hell. So we'll see how excited I get when it actually comes to it. We're probably delaying that for quite a while. Anyways, this is a 10,000 voltage sign. I don't know why, if you're a Spanish reader, you don't get to find out the exact voltage. You just get told, yeah, it's high, don't touch it, alright? But if you're an English reader, you get told the exact voltage, as you can see. 10k, and that's got like a weird squished should be a word. I wonder if it is. That's got a weird squish and slightly drawn out kind of nature to the text as well. And then it has to say danger on the actual sign itself, as you can see. And that will glow obnoxiously. And then the last thing for the sign is this right hand bit. This is the bit this isn't fantastic, but it's such an obnoxious shape to build. It's basically like a hand that's been torn in half with this weird, soft, curvy lightning bolt looking. It's not harsh like a lightning bolt. It is kind of soft in shape, but it's kind of jamming into the hand, and the hand breaks open around it, kind of thing. It's very odd, really. But it basically just means high voltage, don't touch. So I'm building a little hand here. The top looks okay. It's the bottom that ends up looking a little bit funky, to say the least. But I'm trying to match roughly how it works. It's this kind of like jagged part on the bottom as well, and then you've got a bit of the wrist, which is quite square on the actual sign, and then it sort of comes upwards to kind of, I think, meant to fill the jagged gaps, if that makes sense. It does make sense. Everyone loves to fill the jagged gaps. It's something like this. It's not great, but it's considering how obnoxious it is, it's not bad. So there's the high voltage sign. I'm going to put that on the other side as well. And I think this is when I realised the problem. No, it's this one I realised the problem, because I moved this one across and thought, huh, why is that in the bar? And I was looking at it over and over again and thought, oh, right, yeah, that's why. So I just need to rearrange these crossover beam things, which meant then rearranging about 1,000 different bloody things, but hey. The things we do for realism, folks. The things we do for realism. I kept this quite early in the park. You can see the waterfall there, because there's actually a view in the film where after the gate's been shut and it's kind of looking back across it, you can still see the waterfall in the distance. It's not quite got the perfect angle, but it's close to the idea. The point is that you can still see the waterfall area from the gate, basically, like you can in the film. I think that's basically it, actually. There's some foliage in the area, of course. I went and then did a bit of terrain work, a little foliage. You're going to kind of go past this bit. And then there's a few things I want to build. I want to build the bunker. I kind of want to build the Fallen Kingdom one. It's a little bit more interesting, and it's got like a proper interior. But I also want to build the Jurassic Park one, and we could do the interior for that as well, and have like, you know, the downstairs walkway area and the control panel and all that kind of jazz. I kind of just want to do all of it eventually. But I think it would be nice to build something that isn't Jurassic Park. It'd be nice to change it up a little bit. How I'm going to fit dinosaurs into any of these, I'm not totally sure. Like, there's so many creatures we have in this game that don't really fit into Jurassic Park at all, right? So what I'm thinking is, let's say we do the bunker exterior, because the interior is going to take its own video, because it's absolutely huge. And it's got the tunnel as well, which would then go underground. And how does that work? Right, if anyone knows this, by the way, because there's the bunker in Fallen Kingdom, right? And it's meant to go underground. The whole idea is that it connects part of the parks together. It's meant to connect to the other security bunkers, like the one we see in Jurassic Park. It just has a different, more over-the-top visual style because it's Fallen Kingdom. And they go inside and they get attacked by the baryonyx, right, through the tunnel. And the tunnel assumedly links to the other bunkers. But the tunnel isn't underground. They're above ground when they enter the bunker. The bunker's huge. Maybe the tunnel itself doesn't lead underground. It leads to something else which then goes underground. Maybe it does go underground somehow? I don't see how that would be the case. No, it can't do, surely. If anyone knows, let me know. Anyways, so I'm thinking maybe we do the exterior for the bunker, which in itself is quite a lot of work. Anyway, it's quite a detailed thing, the Fallen Kingdom one. Maybe like we sketch out the interior as well or whatever. And then we have some Cystosauruses sort of hanging around the outside or something like that. Or maybe, I don't know, that's kind of where my head's at. Like next time we build something, even if it's not necessarily dinosaurs there, the point is I'm building a dinosaur park, so let's get some bloody dinosaurs in. And I think I am going to attach the path if you... I've got hiccups. You can see the road here. I think if we put like a really skinny path here and then hide a visitor entrance at the back, so just so people are walking along here, and then we'll have the vehicles kind of like just parked off slightly to the side. I think it's going to look cooler if there's people walking along, right? So I think we'll do that as well. But I'll have a little think about that. Let me know what you think down below. So, next video, Fallen Kingdom Bunker, I think. I also want to build the worker village from the Lost World Jurassic Park, but that is a humongous undertaking. So, you know, that might be one for a couple of episodes away. I just need like a decent chunk of time. I apologize. This has been so long. Let's move to the end. Of course, I'm going to show you this in game in a second. I'll do what I did last time. I'll just take some sort of glamoury shots kind of thing. I'll take some little shots and you guys can take a look at it in a little bit more detail. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think we should do next. How do we integrate dinosaurs into my bloody park? That'd be nice. And I'll see you lovely folks very soon. So stick around to actually take a look at this thing in game. Throw me a like down below if you enjoyed the video. I'll see you lovely folks next time. Cheers much love as always. Bye bye.
If you're ready, we'll maneuver. Reaching out.